Welcome to the President's Desk on 96.9 FM KGPC and Peralta Television, where Laney College President Dr. Rudy Besikof speaks with community members, colleagues, and student leaders. This program is supported by Technical Director Felicia Bridges, who co-hosts along with Laney College journalism major Randy Cross and President Rudy Besikof.
Pull up a chair and join me and Felicia today at the President's Desk for episode number 70. Leadership times 4 is truly the topic on the table today as we welcome Peralta presidents Pamela Luster, Denise Richardson, and for a fourth time on Radio Rudy, Dr. David Johnson. In and around our conversations, we'll put the spotlight, as always, on our partners of Laney and discuss ways to support the Peralta College's foundation in efforts to provide scholarships to our students. As always, the President's Desk airs at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. on FM 96.9 in Oakland, KGPC, or online at kgpc969.org. It can also be seen on TV Sundays from 1 to 2 o'clock on the Peralta TV channel. That's channel 26, viewers out there. Can't catch us on radio or TV? No problem. All our episodes are available anytime on demand at kgpc969.org. along with a lot of other great Peralta programming. And as always, we can be heard on Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio. Want to get in touch with the show? Email us at laneypodcast@peralta.edu. Of course, you can like us on Facebook at Laney College Presidents Podcast and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Laney Podcast. You can also find select interviews and content for the show on our very own YouTube channel, the Laney College President's Desk channel. I'm Rudy Besikof, president of Laney College, a pillar that has been serving the greater Oakland community since 1927 and has been known as Laney now for 66 years, and where once again, spring semester is free. Great teams are what this show is all about, and in addition to my co-host Felicia, I want to recognize Elena Sanchez in the president's office, who books guests for the show, as well as Raya Zion, who is our show contributor. But turning the spotlight back around and welcoming in our co-host is Felicia Bridges. Felicia, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Rudy. How you doing?
Not too bad. So I got to ask you this. You're in a room with 4 college presidents right now. Who is your favorite U.S. president? I didn't say Peralta president because I didn't want to get you in trouble. But who is your favorite U.S. president?
Peralta.
U.S. president. That's not fair. But I would have to say Barack Obama, because I just remember my grandma who passed away, but she lived a good long life. She lived till she was 93 years old, and it was the best thing in the world to see how excited she was that Barack Obama was running and that he became president of the United States in her 93-year-old lifetime.
That's amazing. Now, I will say that I remember all the content on our show, even back to like episode number 4 when David Johnson made his first appearance. Lyndon Johnson, right?
I was as long as it's a Johnson, I was hoping Felicia would just say Lyndon or not Andrew, but something with a Johnson in it to kind of keep the Johnson thing going.
President Richards, Berkeley City College. Denise Richards, your favorite president?
Hands down, Barack Obama. I remember the night that he was elected, I was actually teaching political science, and just the electricity in the room when it was announced was just amazing. Probably one of my most cherished memories as faculty.
All right, I'll ask the same question to our newest Peralta College's president at the College of Alameda, Pamela Luster. Your favorite U.S. president?
No doubt about it, Barack H. Obama. Just the change of a lifetime for all of us, for all the time that he was in office, and yes, truly meaningful.
All right. Excellent.
Wait a minute, Ru. You have me looking crazy now because I haven't said Barack. I would say Barack too. It was the Lyndon Johnson story I had in episode.
It was the Lyndon Johnson story, but you'd vote Barack too.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Excellent. Okay. Well, you know what? The President's Desk, Felicia, always so grateful for all the work you've done just to make this show happen. We're now 70 episodes in, but I am not the only podcaster in the room. President Denise, could you tell us about yours?
Oh, absolutely. Berkeley City College Spotlight is our new podcast. We are 3 episodes in, and very excited this last time to have featured the associated students of Berkeley City College, who've done an amazing job at the college, just taking student leadership to a next level. So we got to interview three of our leaders from the associated students, and for that we had the incomparable Ramona Butler, who featured, of course, her program.
It's amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And before that, we did our undocumented resource center. So yeah, we're 3 in. We called it Berkeley City Spotlight because we wanted to have the freedom to just spotlight whatever is happening on campus. So
Are you
very
saying a
excited.
spotlight is more exciting than, say, a president's desk? That
Saying that, just really
All right.
spotlighting the fact that
Felicia,
that's
she's trying to steal our listeners. I think. And then, of course, there is another podcast out there, the Merritt Hour. David
Merritt Hour.
Johnson, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the Merritt Hour, I think my maiden voyage was a couple of years ago. I haven't been as prodigious as maybe my colleague in terms of, I'm like Sade. I come out with an album every, gotta wait on it. But I think I've only put out like 5 episodes. But when I do drop, it's hopefully people enjoy it. But no, it's been a good time, and I hope to work more closely with Felicia Bridges to make sure that I'm a bit more consistent in putting out that quality show.
Pam, you come to us most recently from San Diego Mesa College. During your time as president, what was kind of a way that you got yourself out there?
I'm a bit of a social media maven. I do a lot of Twitter, I do a lot of Instagram, but I had people help me do that. It was very cool to have people that understood those spaces and really got me going. So I've got thousands of followers on to both of those places, which is always amazing to me. And just being out and about. I mean, really, when you think about it. So
What's it been like joining the kind of leadership team here in Peralta and becoming the president at College of Alameda?
So, do a shameless plug, the position is open right now, the college president for College of Alameda. It is a beautiful place, and it is a place filled with wonderful colleagues. And that's what I tell people when they ask me about the job. You've got great fellow presidents, you've got a wonderful chancellor to work with, a board that's committed, and a group of people at the institution that just love what they do. They feel like they're a COA family, and they're ready for new leadership, for people to come in and put their arms around them and hug them and grow COA to where it needs to be.
Excellent. All right. What has been your first impressions of the campus?
Well, the geese are fun. My grandchildren came up for spring break and they counted over 40 squirrels while they were there. They were there about an hour. So lots of fun wildlife. But, again, the campus is just beautiful. Alameda is a beautiful place. Having been someone who's been in the Bay Area most of my life, I really had not explored Alameda. It's a beautiful spot, and Oakland's awesome.
Denise, how long have you been president now at Berkeley City College?
It is coming up on 9 months.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Wow. As you know, you and I used to work together once upon a time at Laney College.
My boss.
Yes, that was a while ago. Just differences between Laney and BCC.
Well, BCC, the wonderful thing that I like about BCC, it is one building, and so you get to really see people and get to know people. You catch the elevator together. It's wonderful to be in the heart of downtown Berkeley, but to be self-contained. So it's made us a really close-knit community.
Some exciting things are going on your campus right now. Could you tell our listeners about them?
I was hoping you'd ask. Absolutely. On April 23rd.
It's called show prep. That's what we get.
On April 23rd, we are having a block party to commemorate our 50th year in Berkeley. It was, of course, first Vista. Now it's Berkeley City College. And so we're very excited about, celebrating that big milestone. But in addition to that, we're also celebrating our groundbreaking. We're putting up a new building, a 2118 Milvia, which is just down the street from our campus. And so it's going to be a second building of our campus. And we're so excited because we're going to be able to spread out a bit some of our categorical programs over there, as well as some additional classrooms, and administration will be moving over there as well.
All right. So some of us head to the Oakland Hills. We start driving. If one goes up a certain road that gets you to Merritt College, what can prospective students expect?
Oh, besides the beautiful view and the occasional deer running through campus,
Really?
it's really I like to think of it as an educational oasis for a lot of our students. We encourage students across the Bay Area to attend Merritt, but especially those students who live in East Oakland. A lot of times there's this idea of students coming from the flats that somehow the school on the hill doesn't belong to them, but it is their community college too. So it's a place where they can come and really focus on achieving their educational goals. It's a place where you can literally, at least for me, when I arrived, um, get a sense of the history and the historical significance of what Merritt has been. When it was, I guess back then it was Grove Street for the old Oakland folks, before it became MLK. But the legacy, I mean, Merritt at one time was I think the cultural locus of activity in Oakland in terms of home of the Black Panthers, obviously, but also looking at Merritt College as being a place uh, where one can reinvent oneself. That's what we're in the process of doing. Had a rebranding. Now the Merritt Panthers as opposed to being the Merritt Thunderbirds. So
I might have a T-shirt that someone gave me with the new branding.
there you go. There you go. And anyone who wants one can just can come by Merritt. We have all sizes.
I see Dr. Luster is waving at you, saying,
Okay.
"Hey, I may be a newbie, but I want a shirt." Yeah,
Oh, no problem. I got you.
Cougars can wear Panther outfits.
There it is. See what she did right there?
There we
Out of the POA Cougars.
I understand you also have some new construction going on.
I have two, not like I'm paying for it. Merritt College is blessed to have two buildings, construction projects are going to be coming online fairly soon. The first is the Child Development Center, one of our child development and early childhood education programs, one of our strongest programs at the college. So we're really excited about that. And then we have a landscape horticulture building coming on. That's probably another 12 to 18 months away. But we want to say thank you to the voters of Alameda County, two $40 million buildings. So excited about those projects and looking forward to filling those classrooms with students.
That's amazing. Well, I don't know if you're aware, the audience of this show, the kind of the way Felicia and I've designed it is that it's for students and whoever else might be listening in, colleagues within Peralta and around the state. But so I want to go ahead and take the discussion to our students for a moment. And when this show airs, we'll probably be within striking distance of finals week. So does any of you have like we won't say fond memory. I don't know if fond memory and final exams would be in the same sentence. Does anybody have just a memory of taking finals that stands out with you? I remember being at the Village Inn, for example, in Boulder, Colorado, drinking very weak coffee at 2 a.m.
Well, I guess the statute of limitations, hopefully. I remember I was trying to get out of a history final, and you pull the fire. No, I didn't.
Okay.
Well, although that happened quite
So we
frequently.
do have a pretty wide audience.
Yeah,
Why
hey,
don't
we're not
verify
trying to give
that
anybody
statute of
any
limitations?
ideas. No, I mean, actually, I was one of those students. I never in my entire college career like pulled an all-nighter for finals. I just kind of like, hey, at a certain point, either I know it or I don't. It's better to get a good night's rest. But I remember the feeling of just excitement and relief when I took my last final at Berkeley. It was a statistics class. Crazy thing was the grades for that class didn't come out until after the graduation ceremony. So I had to tell my granny, it's looking a little shaky. Come on, luckily I did pass the class and didn't have to come back over the summer. But that's kind of the thing that sticks out in my mind.
Felicia, I hope the magic of television captured when David said that he never pulled an all-nighter, the way the rest of us in the room.
Yeah, they kind of looked at me
each other.
side-eyed.
Now, the person who reacted the most to this was Pam. Pam, do you have a good final story to tell us from memory?
Proud Spartan, graduate of San Jose State University in beautiful San Jose, both my bachelor's and master's degree. And I lived in the bricks in the dorms, down on 10th Street. And we pulled all-nighters regularly. Our favorite thing in the world was Togo's, because we had the original downtown Togo's down there. So we were broke. So we would like get a big one and like cut it into slices for all of us. And then when they were closed, we'd go to 7-Eleven and get like an Italian ice, one of those horrible mystery burritos just to stay up. But yeah, we did all-nighters a lot, but loved the experience at San Jose.
Denise?
Yeah, I pulled my share of all-nighters, and I always rationalized that it was okay to eat junk food on those occasions because, I was under under the pressure, and so I kind of excused myself to do exactly what you just shared. But some of my other memories from the faculty lens of finals week is that I would see people I'd never seen before in office hours. So that was always kind of pleasant to just kind of tease my students and say, "Oh, so nice to meet you, Dr. Johnson. Didn't know never saw you in office hours before." So that's kind of a fun memory.
Wow, that's not that good.
I don't know if
Good.
just to embarrass Denise for a second. I don't know if any of our listeners out there are deans or directors, but one good practice that Denise had was to have a fully stocked bowl of candy
That's right.
that would have her vice president of instruction, me, in her office all the time. And at that point, she'd always find a moment to advocate for something or ask for some. Deans out there, Milk Duds, Skittles, having those on hand.
Snickers, yeah.
Snickers, yeah, that's right. Snickers is
go.
my thing. Pam, you mentioned teaching as well. What was your discipline?
When I started in community colleges, I was actually an instructor in DSPS. And so I worked with hearing impaired students, learning disabled students, and got them ready for college level courses. So a lot of it was looking at their particular set of skills, which are usually numerous but uncovered because maybe they'd had different experiences in education before they found the community college. And that was when I started at West Valley College. I now teach at San Diego State in the doctoral program for educational leadership, but loved those early days of teaching with my students.
Excellent. When you teach educational leadership, is there a certain pedagogy area of focus that you have, or?
So I teach the capstone course in the program. So by the time I see the students, they are stressed out writing their dissertations. And the last class is actually a scaffolded final project where they create a community college soup to nuts. So they have to take everything they've learned in the program and create a college that is imbued with all of the kinds of barrier removing that we would like to do in the real world. And they get to build a college, brick and mortar, in the sky, wherever they want to build it. So, and then we talk a lot about leadership in the class as well.
I was always curious about that word capstone. What does that mean?
So they're capping off, putting the last stone in their educational journey in their doctoral program. So it's the end of a 3-year program. Again, they've been doing dissertation. They've probably had their proposal approved at that point. And they're actively writing. So we don't do a ton of textbooks. We try to make it as real as possible. I try to incorporate former students who've been through the program because they're out in the real world. All of these students are in the real world just when they're going through the program. But yeah, it caps off that experience. So they take everything they've learned and distill it into that final project.
David, you are Dr. David Johnson. So what was your dissertation about?
Ooh, race relations in the northern states in the 20 years after the Civil War.
So to study and to gather your data, what was the activity that you engaged in?
Wow. Well, when I wasn't procrastinating, attending A's games and going to Cache Creek, it involved Am I allowed to say that? Uh, it involved spending a lot of time in the stacks. I traveled to Library of Congress, Schaumburg, New York, to look at some primary sources. So yeah, it was fun. I took a little longer than I probably should have. And then when I got the letter from Berkeley saying that I was outside of what's called normative time and that my money would run out if I didn't finish my dissertation in a year, then I kind of.
Amazing what that'll do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So we do have a poli-sci person in the room. Gotta ask your dissertation, Denise. What did you focus on?
Well, my dissertation was, of course, the educational leadership program. I focused on success strategies for Black males in STEM. And I wanted to focus on success strategies because we knew what some of the obstacles were for those who weren't doing well. So I wanted to isolate what things really work for students. And I had 4 study participants, and each of them just had very unique stories about what really worked for them. But a thread that was woven throughout everything that they shared was having someone who was on their side, having a mentor. That was really important for them. Having instructors that they felt that they could go and talk to, saw them. Because a lot of times Black male students don't feel seen by their instructors. So one of the things that they felt contributed to their success was having that relationship with faculty members. Also, having a space that was their own. They talked a lot about, having a space just for them to go and to feel like they could have some camaraderie with other students who shared their experience. A lot of different things that they talked about, having a strong family structure in place that supported them so that they didn't have to worry about rent and those types of things. So it was just really interesting hearing all of their stories and finding out what really worked for them in terms of contributing to their success.
You touched on a great topic of conversation for all of us, something we all grapple with, obstacles our students face and what we do as educational leaders to try to address them. I'd like to stay on that for a minute and just kind of throw the question out to the room. What are in your own leadership stories, what are some obstacles that you've taken on at your colleges, and how have you addressed them?
Well, I would say, in my opinion, the biggest obstacle, and there's also opportunity too, is we have an open system. And so at times, the uneven level of academic preparation um, is something that's it's a very real thing. And how do you provide students with the support and the resources necessary to be successful, but at the same time ensure that they're adequately prepared once they leave our institution, that they can do well any other institution in the world. So we're having statewide over the last several years conversations about not to use jargon, but AB 705 and 1705 and things like that, which is the extent to which a student should be, I don't want,
Math and English
yeah, math and
preparation,
English.
yeah.
I don't want to say pejoratively, but compelled to take these courses before they go into transfer level English and math. I mean, so just trying to navigate that, trying to remove barriers that would elongate their their pathway, which you don't want to do because life happens and tip students will stop out when that does. But at the same time, making sure that we're not rushing them through, or making sure that once they go through that pathway, that they have the skills, the requisite skills to do well wherever they decide to transfer.
So, David, let's say I'm a student. I show up at Merritt College, maybe a returning student,
Yes, sir.
and I'm within what I like to call it the 5 seconds, the moment where I get on campus and I have that 5 seconds of, am I making the right decision? And I hear about math and English requirements. What at Merritt College will support me?
Well, I would direct. I'm going to say a name, Isela Santana, who directs our learning center. They're very supportive. They're going to wrap their arms around you and make sure that you have everything to be successful. But I think in the larger sense, we all have a shared commitment. That 5 second thing, which you just said, I think is really compelling, because oftentimes it does not take much for something to come up for a student and for a student to say, you know what, maybe the school thing just ain't for me. And that happens so many, and it can happen in the financial aid line. It can happen A&R. It can happen when somebody's not greeted when they come on the campus. It can happen in a negative experience the first 5 minutes of a class. It can happen because I don't have the money to get my books. So we're trying to look at the whole student experience and mitigate um, mitigate that, so and give students reasons to say yes and continue to say yes to coming to school, as opposed to finding a reason to stop out.
What about at Berkeley City College? If I'm in that 5 second moment, what's a great resource or great place to go?
We have so many resources, but I would say that we have, for different groups of students, we have our EPS, we have our Undocumented Resource Center, we have our Tutoring and Learning Resources Center. All of those are places where students can find assistance. But to your earlier question, I think one of the things that we've tried to do at BCC is raise awareness college-wide, because that split moment decision can take place anywhere.
Right.
So we're talking about truly relevant pedagogy. That's been a big emphasis in a lot of our Flex Day discussions. We're also looking at data with a lot more intentionality. We're looking at, okay, we're seeing these gaps that are persisting and that are even widening, particularly for our Black students. So we're really interrogating the why, and I've thought about things like, okay, so what's going on even with financial aid? Looking at our financial aid data, are Black students receiving financial aid to the extent that other groups are? And if not, why not? Are there appeals being processed the same way? So we're looking internally, and we're also looking at how we can directly address the gaps when they occur.
It's great information as we remind our listeners that you tuned into the President's Desk right here at 96.9 FM, KGPC, also heard at kgpc969.org. Presidents, this is a fascinating conversation. Can you stick around for a little while, talk a little bit more? I need to do a little show business here, but if you can come back on the other side, love to have you back.
Oh,
All right. So, listeners, as we transition at this point in the show, I want to go ahead and move to our Partners of Laney feature. And I've got 3 good things to kind of put out there to the community, just celebrating our partners and some great things that have been happening for our students. First of all, I want to send a big shout out to the Renaissance Center for Partnership. They put on a partnership with entrepreneurship fair at Oakland Chinatown at their cultural center. And one thing that they do continue to offer, if you missed out on that, are ongoing workshops through our Employment Services Center. And you certainly want to reach out to Raya Zion at rzion@peralta.edu if you'd like any information about that. Also on April 18th, we put on just an outstanding job fair. Again, it was in partnership with our great community partner, the Oakland Chinatown Chamber of Commerce, but also the Oakland Private Industry Council, and certainly appreciate them just for all the great work. And to our community, please mark 10 to 2 o'clock on April 26th. It's a Saturday for the Laney College Career and Technical Education Open House. We'll be opening doors all over our campus. A lot of our career areas, whether it's anything related to building a building, we have carpentry, construction management, welding, machine technology, HVAC, air conditioning, electrical technology. All of those classroom labs will be open to the public. And not only will they be there, but some of our community partners, such as Pacific Gas and Electric, as well as East Bay Municipal, and a number of just a lot of our private industry partners who want you to stay in school, but also want to hire you, will be on hand to take resumes and answer questions that you might have. And it's just a great opportunity. Even if you're not a Laney or Peralta student, just come to Laney College on Saturday, the 26th, and we'll look forward to seeing you. Speaking of supporting students, of course, I just want to remind you, if you are a student during the semester who's experiencing some difficulty, Laney College, through my office, the president's office, provides one-time support scholarships for those who are seeing those unforeseen difficulties during the semester, the flat tire, the stolen laptop, whatever it might be. And if you are a student who needs a little help, please reach out to my office at 510-464-3219. Fill out an emergency scholarship application, and we'll get you up to $500 to get you through whatever's happening. Also, if you have any questions, just go ahead and email me, rbesikof@peralta.edu. That's rbesikof@peralta.edu. Now, of course, none of that support happens without people donating. And to our community and also to our employees throughout Peralta, if you're interested in supporting students through scholarships, the first thing I'd like you to do, if you have golf clubs and like to play, sign up for the Dr. William Bill Riley Swing for Success Golf Tournament. It's put on by our foundation here at the district, and it'll be on Monday, May 20th at the Sequoia Country Club up in the Oakland Hills near that great place known as Merritt College. Uh-oh. Is that going to get edited, Felicia?
Yeah, change that up.
Or since it's my show, can we leave the Laney slip in there?
Here it is. Trying to hit the audience with subliminals over
now,
there, man.
Maybe you don't have golf clubs, but you want to help out. Of course, you can donate anytime to the foundation and just email them at pfs@peralta.edu. Or if you want to volunteer for the tournament and help out, go to peraltafoundation.org for details about the tournament, whether it's registering or wanting to be a volunteer. Also, to our employees and community members, this is one last reminder, of course, that all charitable gifts to Laney College or any of the Peralta colleges, and I'm saying that, making sure I say that with my guests here, that any gift is tax deductible and processed through Peralta College's foundation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. For any questions about the foundation, please reach out to them at 510-587-7809 or email them at pfs@peralta.edu. Also, to our employees, for as little as the price of a cup of coffee each week, it is possible to donate through monthly payroll deduction, and all of that is done pre-tax and is tax deductible. All right, business concluded. Welcome back, presidents. Go ahead and finish the sentence for me, and I'm going to go ahead and turn to Dr. Richardson. Leadership is what does leadership mean to you?
Leadership is collaboration, and leadership is being able to make the decisions that you feel are in the best interest of the college, even when it's not popular. Unfortunately, we're put in situations where we have to.
So, Dr. Richardson, what does leadership mean to you?
Leadership means collaboration, and it means making sure that everyone has a very clear view of why you're making decisions. And in those instances, when you have to make decisions that you can't be completely transparent about, it means having built the trust among the people that you work with so that you can do that and have it. So
It's amazing how trust and good communication enters that picture, isn't it?
absolutely.
All right. Dr. Luster, how about you?
So I'll go out on a limb and say I think leadership is love. I think it manifests itself when people are truly committed to the well-being of the humans that they work with, and they're willing to take on the tough kinds of things that we face as college presidents or in any role that you have at the institution. But that love means that you're developing deep relationships with people, that you are forgiving them and forgiving yourself when maybe you haven't had your best day or they haven't, and that you create an environment so that people want to come to work every day, because our students don't get what they need unless we're getting what we need to serve them. So I think it's all about loving what you do, loving who you work with. That forgiveness piece I think is really key, and then pushing each other to be better.
How, as a president, have you found yourself, whether it was here or at San Diego Mesa, connecting with your campus community? What if I were a rookie president? Once upon a time I was,
Yeah.
but if I were a rookie president and I asked you, how do I connect with my campus, what would you tell me?
Yeah, be out on your campus. People knew who I was. I was lucky enough to have a little golf cart because campus is pretty big, and it really is on a mesa when I was in San Diego. So we had big topography changes on the campus. And first day of school, I had maps, pencils, granola bars, and water bottles. And students would say, I'd, roll up and say, "Where are you headed?" And if they told me somewhere like way across campus, I'd say, "Jump in." Of course, the people didn't enjoy me taking students around in my cart, but liability wise, and then I would get to know them, and that came back to me over and over. And I'd say, like at welcomes for new students, I'd say, "Talk to me if you're on campus." But I remember just in this moment being at commencement and having a young student come up to me and say, I was a high school student. We had a early attendance with beautiful Kearney High School down the street. And he said, "You picked me up in your car. You took me to my English class. I was going to turn around and go back." Like I was not, it was that 5 minute, 5 second thing, right?
There you go.
And he said, "And you made me feel welcome." And then when I hopped out, I asked who you were. And you said, "You were the president of the college." And I went home and told my mom, and here's my mom, so
Wow.
it's those moments, right? Like you need to be out there. People need to know who you are, and they need to know that you're approachable, and they need to know you're going to listen to them.
All right, Mr. Multi-time guest on the president's desk, I'll ask the same question. We've heard collaboration. We've heard that showing of love. What does leadership mean to you, sir?
Those are two pretty good cardinal principles right there. I would say, only thing I would add to that is commitment, which can be difficult sometimes. I mean, in terms of what you're willing to commit to your college, to your students, to your colleagues. But I think that if you have a collaborative environment and you do have that love in your heart, it makes it easier to make the commitment. But the unvarnished perspective or the unvarnished reality of what being a college president requires, it is many, many, many hours. It can be a fairly isolating experience. At the end of the day, you have to have a level of conviction because the buck does stop with you. So you just need to really be committed and be serious about the work and what you want to do. It is a vocation. It is a life calling. It is not just necessarily just a job if you want to be effective at it.
Once I was when I was in my doctoral program in educational leadership, somebody came to our class and defined it as caring to a fault about getting the job done to serve students and not caring in the least about taking any of the credit.
Yeah.
That was kind of that, what is it? The battery, you have the plus and the minus side, and you have those things.
That sounds about right.
So I do think that becoming a leader, it requires something above and beyond. What when you were in the classroom, what was your thing, Dr. Johnson?
When I was in the classroom,
What'd you teach?
history and African American studies.
Okay, so and I say that anybody who works in a community college can be a leader.
Mhm.
Well, what was that moment for you where you just said, you know what, this teaching is great, but I want to do this. I want to lead. I want to be an administrator. What was that moment for you?
Wow. Well, for me, it started at my colleague's college at Berkeley City College back in 2005. So I was teaching, but I also had the opportunity to run a program called PACE, Program for Adult College Education. And
I taught English in it. So
it-
yeah, I know
it's
that.
a beautiful PACE is a beautiful thing. And I think despite the fact that, and I think my colleagues would probably agree, you too, Rudy, there is no feeling like teaching and you see kind of the light bulb go off. It's like, oh man, I get it. And 'cause I mean, that can't be replicated. But a very close second is when you are able to help a student get from A to B, remove an obstacle, provide a vision, provide an opportunity, present a solution to kind of clear path for a student to, in some cases, make life-changing progress, um, to change the entire trajectory of their lives and their families' lives, material circumstances of their entire family's lives by helping them navigate and get through. So, in PACE, I was able to do that a little bit as a director, and I kind of caught the bug. And I won't get into the story about how I became an administrator, a dean, how I crossed over to the dark side.
Well, I've got, I do have to invite you back a fifth time so I can get you the Saturday Night Live jacket.
Oh yeah,
That's
exactly.
coming.
The five member
Time
club.
for-
So, but I do want to shift
And Steve Martin.
I do want to shift to Denise and ask the same question, because now just talking to you, I'm imagining being a student in your political science class and how wonderful that might have been. But what was the moment for you when you said, you know what, I think I want to look at being an administrator, an educational leader? When was that moment? Tell our listeners about it.
No, it was interesting. Yeah, I really enjoyed teaching and being in the classroom, and as my colleagues shared, having those light bulb moments, particularly in political science. So, it, I wasn't looking for it. I was very structured in what I did, and my colleagues started noticing how I did things, and so then they asked me to be department chair. Matter of fact, I remember before I became full-time faculty, being asked to be the department chair for my area. And I thought, that's funny that they asked me to do that. But I grew into the role, and I realized that I enjoyed working with my colleagues and working on putting our schedule together. That was exciting to me. And then after I did that for a while, I was again just kept my head down and moving around campus. And then people started asking me to do things. And it speaks to the power of encouragement. Evelyn Lord on your campus.
Our librarian.
Yeah, when I was just teaching, she said, Denise, you really seem to enjoy curriculum. How did you get on the curriculum committee? And once I did that, it was over. I loved, developing curriculum. And then inevitably it was, vice president of faculty senate, president of faculty senate, and then again, my colleagues encouraged me, you should look into being a dean. We'll still like you. So, so I did that and enjoyed being a dean for about 7 years. And then my colleague over here invited me to be his vice president of instruction.
Right. Yeah.
One of the best 3 years of my professional
One of the
career.
best decisions I ever made.
Of course, right. That goes right below being a dean for me, though.
That's right.
There we
right.
go. Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
We'll edit that part out. Edit that part out.
So,
but anyway, that's how it went. And so I appreciate the fact that I've been homegrown. I went through the faculty diversity internship program,
amazing.
which again speaks to the power of having mentorship, in your early teaching career.
You are now the third guest on this podcast that's been through the FDIP, the Faculty Diversity Internship Program, which is amazing. It's funny you mentioned department chair, and I'll just mention this before we do another station ID here. it was kind of, when I was faculty, there was kind of this understanding, next you needed to be a department chair if you wanted to be an administrator within the district where I worked. And let's just say there was a line in front of me. So I started looking at dean's opportunities. So I became a dean without doing it, but I was not only the only dean at the whole college where I was, but I was also a first-time dean at a college with no department chairs.
Oh.
So I got to do all of it. I got the whole package together. And speaking of just great things that are together, I'll remind our listeners that you're listening to our wonderful collaborative show, The President's Desk, right here on FM 96.9 KGPC, also heard at kgpc969.org. Pam, I'm not going to ask you the same question because I know you haven't just been a transformational person. You've been a superhero. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, my superhero status. So I am an equity avenger. And this movement started, gosh, probably 5 or 6 years ago when Dr. Keith Curry and I kept circling in the same circles, whether it was the Athletics Commission or, different places. We always found ourselves sort of pulling out the sword and going at windmills, as they say, about things that just seemed really unfair for students. And we'd end up in these spaces together. And so we started out working in the basic needs space together. And were soon joined after that with Chancellor Tamil Gilkerson of the beautiful Peralta District, who is also now an equity avenger. And we just started doing work together around really trying to get into spaces with leadership to talk about racial equity in higher education, to think about how basic needs and other kinds of I won't call it all affective, but the structural barriers that are there for our students. So we're very much involved in Black Student Success Week now. Keith and Tamil have done a number of different speaking opportunities across the nation, but we do a little show called Equity Chat every 5 p.m. on Wednesdays on now called X. I still call it Twitter. And we have guests and we have them come in and talk about racial equity. We've had all sorts of guests from all over the place. I think my favorite are when our students are on. And we have a website, equityavengerscom.org, something like that. Our marketing people will shoot me. But anyway.
Could you tell Felicia's and my audience who's upcoming? Who's going to be on the show?
Yes.
See, they got to plug their podcast.
Yeah,
I have to give you the space.
So tonight we have the CEO of NCMPR, which is the national marketing and PR group that most of us have affiliations with, and they're going to talk about how the landscape of outreach and marketing has changed in higher ed and the racial equity implications for that. And then I'm very proud to say that one of our upcoming guests is a former Mesa student, a decorated Navy SEAL who's now was just part of one of the new space operations that was just launched recently. And he's going to talk about his experience as I recall meeting with him, and he said he was more afraid of math than when they were going after bin Laden as Navy SEALs. So, sometimes that academic environment is really scary for people who are really brave.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It is not often that I have 4 presidents in this space at one time. So this question is actually for every one of you.
I notice you're looking my way, Felicia, as you say that.
But it's because this is such a positive episode, I'm keeping it positive. I want to know the moment that you knew that being a college president was the right move for you and that you own that president's desk.
I have to give an answer that actually introduced me to Dr. Pam Luster. Getting through our accreditation and just validating our institution and the work it was doing, there was that moment of when we finally got affirmed as our institution. Just having been there at really second number 1 of that process and taking us through our hundreds of pages report and the visit and going through all of that and getting to that end point of, yes, you are reaffirmed as a college. I really felt tied to Laney after that.
I So many moments, those moments in the cart, right? When the students are coming in. But I think it was my first commencement, and just, I get emotional about it. It's that moment, and you're looking up at all of these families, and you're looking at people's children, the parents that are there. You're looking at all the graduates, you're looking at the faculty and the classified professionals who helped make all of that happen. And Mesa's a large institution. We had 5,000 people, observing the commencement, and just stepping on that stage and feeling the enormity of the responsibility for the lives of all those folks. I was like, all right, this is this is incredible that collectively we've been able to help these students produce this transformational change in their lives and their families' lives. And then it started to feel longitudinal. Like, we're going to be part of these families' lives forever. And that's just when I thought, God, college president's the best. And you got the nice little velvet hat on, and you're up there in your outfit, and it's warm.
My
but
first graduation was on Zoom, so I did have the hat.
Okay.
I didn't
we did drive
I didn't get
through,
to see the whites of eyes.
but yes, that was that moment.
All right,
Like,
there
I'm
are two-
part of something much bigger than me.
Two other people in the room.
Our way around.
Well, I'd have to say, almost 9 months in, that my first experience of really, like, this feels good. This is where I need to be. Was at my first flex day at Berkeley City College. Getting to interact with all of the faculty there and having conversations with them that sounded familiar. I like to say it's the same neighborhood, different house, because I've been in Peralta my entire career. So having the ability to engage the faculty, with the classified professionals, and with the students from a different seat felt very natural. And so I would have to say it was probably that moment, addressing the campus during the first flex day.
Dr. Johnson.
Well, I could agree with Dr. Pam about um, commencement, because that's my favorite time of year. But if you want a honest answer, I would say two moments. Number one, we had a situation where our president that was in place had to step away, and I was Regina Stanback Stroud had a conversation when she was chancellor, and asked me straight up, "Are you ready to step in and look me in the eye? I want to look you in the eye." And
You know what? You and I were in a restaurant together when you got that call. Yep.
okay, Rudy, part of
After
history.
that, yeah.
Yes,
That's
we
right.
were. We
Yep.
were.
In Alameda.
Alameda.
Place.
We were.
Yep.
We were.
Enjoying a little Mexican
You're
food. Yeah.
absolutely right. And so that was like, okay, well, I've said yes, let's do it. But the other thing I would say, because we share this too, we were COVID president.
That's right.
And I think I felt the weight of it and felt like, okay, this is it, let's do it. There were times where I was the only, I made it a point every day during COVID, irrespective of whether the campus was open, I was at work every single day because I wanted to be in the Q building, in that office, holding it down. If anybody came to campus wandering around or needed something, I wanted to be that person and take on that and shoulder that responsibility. So I think the weight of that, and then also the opportunity to lead during that very challenging time, I think that kind of I was kind of steeled by that in order to see myself and be the president that I wanted to be.
Outstanding. And I think this is a perfect point in the show to actually say goodbye to our Peralta TV audience and remind you that you can tune into the President's Desk on Sundays from 1 to 2 p.m. And Felicia, that they can be seen on TV. I believe it's channel 26. Is that correct? All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you. However, President's Desk listeners on radio, take heart. We still do have a few minutes left for a bit of bonus coverage. But in the meantime, to our TV viewers, we'll see you next time right here at the President's Desk. All right. So with this little bit of bonus time that we have for our radio audience, what's something that you all hope to do within the next year? What's something you're looking forward to for our students?
I am very much looking forward to bringing as many students back to our campus, or to my campus, as possible. COVID is behind us, and we want to recapture the activity, the spirit, the energy, the excitement that attends being on a campus. The main reason this is going to sound crazy. One of the main reasons the main reason, I'm just going to be honest. The main reason that I decided to get a PhD was I thought to myself at the time, what do I have to do to give myself the best opportunity to never have to leave a college campus? Oh, okay, I'll get a PhD in history. I love the college campus environment. And I am committed and excited about the prospect of recapturing that spirit, that campus life, that activity, that energy, starting in the fall. So we're going to keep building toward that.
Yeah, the support of students, the shape it takes, how we define it, how we shape it. It's always amazing. Pam, how about you?
Yeah, I think, I will be at COA for the next little while. And really my goal is to bring together this family for COA and have it get ready for the next president. So that if there are some things we need to fix, we can do that. If there's some new things we need to think about doing and get going, we can do that as well. But really mining the minds of this wonderful COA family and finding out what their needs are and helping people out. We've got a lot of um, unfilled places on campus. And so how do we fill those with people, with students? Getting students back on campus needs to be very important. But now our students know they can learn in very different ways. So how do we continue to provide that flexibility? But then how do we make sure they're fed and have housing and mental health and all those kinds of things? So my goal for the next little while is to get the place ready for its next great leader. I'll say leaders because there will also be new vice presidential opportunities as well. And then COA can do what it needs to do.
There you go. So new building coming up,
Oh,
a lot of new
absolutely.
prospects. What about Berkeley City College
You
and
know,
your leadership over the next year?
I'm so glad you brought the new building up again. Again, I just have to say that April 23rd, we are having our groundbreaking and block party. It's 11 to 4. We're going to have the mayor come speak. We're going to have the president of the board of trustees and our chancellor speak. So we're very excited about that 11 to 4 on the 23rd. But I also want to say that in general, we're looking forward to bringing as many students back to BCC as possible, much like my colleagues shared, and also addressing our equity gaps in a really meaningful way. It doesn't make sense that we had such a drop off in terms of the number of Black students who are attending, Pacific Islander students who are attending. So I'm looking forward to finding creative ways to really reach out to groups of students who haven't come to us in the same numbers as as they have in the past. So we're looking forward to that, and we're also looking forward to being really integrated in our community in a new way. I'm very excited that we have established a close ties with the Berkeley Rotary. They're excited about working with us. They said that they give more scholarships to us than anyone else. So that's very exciting. So we want to keep the momentum going in terms of outreach to our community and making sure that our students continue to find community at Berkeley City College.
It's amazing. And I just really always wonder what the next step of innovation is going to look like as we try to help students. So it's amazing. Well, Presidents Pam, Denise, and David, just want to thank you all so much for joining me on the president's desk, joining me and Felicia. Like I said, David, next time you get a
Yeah,
jacket with a 5 on it for your appearances, and certainly the two of you are always welcome back anytime. And actually want to embarrass Pam for just a minute and on the air say thank you, especially in my first year as a president, for just the mentorship and the support. It's meant a lot. So
You're very welcome.
all right. Well, Felicia, 4 presidents in the room. Before we sign off, what your thoughts?
This is an amazing show. I'm so glad to have been a part of it. Yeah, that's it. Just and love to hear that these all 4 of these campuses are under some excellent leadership.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Excellent. Excellent. As we wrap up another edition of the President's Desk, we want to thank our Peralta TV audience as well as our listeners up and down the great state of California, from the far north in the 717 and the 530 all the way down to SoCal in the 619. Big shout out there to two people, two very special people. And I see Pamela Luster raising her hand there for San Diego. But also special appreciation to our great Laney and Peralta listeners right here in the 510, tuning in from Lake Merritt, Oakland, Chinatown, downtown Oakland, West Oakland, East Lake, Fruitvale, Diamond, North Oakland, Adams Point, Central Oakland, East Oakland, the Oakland Hills, Montclair, Piedmont, and of course, those right here at the Laney College campus listening to us today in Oakland. As we close up shop at the president's desk, straighten up the desk chairs, and turn the light off on today's program, Felicia, great job. Please take us home.
Certainly. I would like to give a shout out to College of Alameda, Berkeley City College, Merritt College, and Laney College.
Woo-hoo.
And a special mention of, is it Mesa? Mesa College? Mesa College in San Diego. Thank you for tuning in to the President's Desk, hosted by Laney College President, Dr. Rudy Besikof. It airs Wednesday at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. on 96.9 KGPC. Viewers can watch the show in its entirety on Peralta TV, Sundays from 1 to 2 p.m. To listen anytime, find us on kgpc969.org/current programming/current shows and click on the President's Desk, or find the show directly at www.kgpc969.org/the President's Desk. Also, to stream video of the show, go to youtube.com and subscribe to Laney College President's Desk. If you have a suggestion for a future show, email us at laneypodcast@peralta.edu.